Every moment the universe is dreaming you. It is hoping that you will find yourself before it wakes up and the truth becomes apparent. You have value. Your choices have value. Your life as a human being matters. What is it that makes a good human? As human beings, we have the ability to comprehend in ways that animals do not. Certainly plants do not. We have the ability to consider ourselves, those around us, and the purpose of life itself. So, taking into account everything that we observe, taking into account all the opinions of those who have come before us, it is up to us to decide what it is to be a good human. To be a good human is not something that somebody can hand to us. Somebody cannot hand us an understanding and we adopt it. If that is the case in your life, you must reconsider. Now, if you examine the beliefs of your parents and your ancestors and you decide that, yes, they were correct, then that's one thing. But if you've never doubted, if you never questioned what it is to be a good human, then you must start to do so right now. Because we don't have a lot of time as this person in this life. Even if you're someone who believes in reincarnation as I do, it's very important to use this life, this person that you are, because you'll never be this one person again. So be ready to doubt all the so-called truth that is handed to you. Be ready to doubt your system of government. Be ready to examine these things, and more importantly, examine yourself, your motivations. Why it is that you do what you do. It is said that a good man draws a circle around himself and his family, but a great man draws his circle much bigger. To accept responsibility not just for yourself, or your family, but for all of humanity. That is a step towards the spiritual evolution that we need as human beings in this world. As human beings, there are many options for us as far as whether we're this kind of politic, we're this kind of religion, or lack thereof, or we're this kind of person. And we tend to attach ourselves to different personality traits, different descriptions that are either ascribed to us or that we started ascribing to ourselves and never really evolved past. We fit into our own mold, and we imagine that this mold cannot be cracked, that this is the person that we are. But if you think that way, then you are not taking full advantage of this human spirit within you. And the soul is always watching. That piece of ourself that is behind everything, that is always observing our actions, always observing what we think, always observing how hard we work for one another, because ultimately all souls are connected. What it is to be a good human being is being willing to be wrong. And once you examine yourself and the world around you, once you realize that there's more to learn, accept that you're always going to be wrong to a certain degree, but be more and more correct as a person in your existence. Start to realize that national boundaries, religious, spiritual, and ideological boundaries are not an understanding, but a lack of understanding. A lack of understanding of oneness. Call it Vedanta if you want, call it Hinduism, call it agnostic universalism, call it humanitarianism. But what you mustn't call it is separate. What you believe, who you are, must be connected to everyone else in some way. You must have an exchange with your mind to everyone around the globe, everyone that you disagree with especially. Bounce their ideas off of your consciousness. Allow your consciousness to attune and relate to everything around it. And I'm not talking about your physical space, but your mental space. All the ideas we come into contact with, whether they be from different religions or from different societal ideas, like the social contract, or if we should be more libertarian and rely on ourselves, or should we be more socialist and work as a community and all enter into a more complicated social contract? Should we think that God is something that is separate from creation or one with creation? Are we pieces of God? Is God something that created, in the blackness, or did he just disseminate himself into the illusion of isolation in many different forms? Is there a God? Is there a way of life that is superior to every other way of life? Can we look at ourselves in a completely third-person point of view and not attach emotions and cravings and aversions to our identity? To delve into what it is to be human is to realize the purpose of what it is to be human. We have not evolved at this rate, or have been created at this rate, and I think it's a combination of both, just to live as our ancestors did. We are meant to go further. We have been progressing, and while there are certain aspects our ancestors value that we do not as much, either as a society or as an individual or as a religion or a spiritual path, or even the scientific method and the Enlightenment. Maybe you think the Enlightenment did not do enough, and then we started to degrade as a society. Whatever you believe, you have to realize that we are always meant to take it a step further. To take our human understanding, our human consciousness, to its greatest limit, which we will find is infinite. There is no small thing that a human can be. No human being has a limit. Even if you're born with disabilities, mental, physical, and even if you are born into an environment that doesn't allow you in your society to be the person that you want to be, there are always ways towards the light. There is always a way to find that allows you to expand beyond these borders that are either forced upon us or that we just were born into. There is always a way towards the light. We just have to look for it. We just have to chisel a pinprick in the cave of the mind to expose ourselves to our true connection to the universe, which relies on our very spirit, our life force, and the consciousness our soul provides. Getting in tune with our soul is getting in tune with something that goes beyond what our physical body looks like, what we identify with, and the groups that we think we are against. These things are behind everything else, and they're much bigger. Creation can be described as a womb, ready for a new vibrancy of soul to be born. But we are in the womb of God. There is so much more around us behind it all. But there is purpose in our sentient human lives. What it is to be a good human must be understood from your own perspective, and you must hone your own perspective. Only you can decide which way to go and how you will walk, and if you are walking well, but most importantly, if you are good in your own definition of good. If you can get past your own bias, your own ascribed personality and identity that society has a heavy hand in placing upon you, if you can get past that, then you will identify with something far greater than a single individual, than the single person we are. But yet, this person that we are still matters. We still matter because we have the ability to evolve far beyond, spiritually and physically, far beyond any other life force that we know about. So we should take advantage of that. Be the shepherds of this universe, not its butchers. Be the lovers of each other, not hostile combatants of one another. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, put it down in the comment section below. If you want to support me on Patreon, my Patreon account is www.patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. I would love your support on there, and I would love your support on YouTube. If you want to continue this conversation, feel free to, and feel free to hit that like button if you thought any of this was interesting. Thank you very much, and all of you have a great day.